Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. You and Nabi greetings are extended to our Muslim brothers and sisters. We now start with a story from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago Deputy Commissioner of Police MacDonald Jacob confirmed that members of the bomb squad of the TNT Police Service are currently investigating a, I quote, suspicious package, end of quote, that was discovered at the parkade in Port of Spain. Jacob said the package was stumbled upon by workers at the compound who notified the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and TNT Fire Service. Earlier, Chief Fire Officer Marlon Smith also confirmed that they had responded to an, I quote, explosive device, end of quote, at Government Plaza, Port of Spain. Queen Street, Edward Street, and Richmond Street in downtown Port of Spain have been cordoned off while officials investigate the matter. As a precaution, nearby government buildings on Government Plaza, such as the Ministry of Legal Affairs and Ministry of National Security, have been evacuated. A rather sad story here. A gang that kidnapped 17 members of a U.S.-based missionary group has demanded a $17 million ransom for them, according to Haiti's Justice Minister. Justice Minister Litz Quatel said the gang was demanding $1 million per person. He identified the ages of the abducted children as 8 months and 3, 6, 14, and 15 years. A wave of kidnappings prompted a protest strike that shuttered businesses, schools, and public transportation in a new blow to Haiti's anemic economy, and unions and other groups vowed to continue the shutdown on Tuesday. FBI agents and other U.S. officials are helping Haitian authorities hunt for the 12 adults and 5 children linked to the Christian Aid Ministries in Ohio who were kidnapped Saturday during a trip to visit an orphanage. We now tell you that Human Rights Watch accused the Cuban government Tuesday of arresting people arbitrarily, mistreating detainees, and holding sham trials in revenge for unprecedented street protests that erupted across the country this summer. On July 11, thousands of Cubans took to the streets in some 50 locations to protest harsh living conditions and repressive government on the communist-run island. The rallies left at least 1 person dead and dozens of others injured as security forces cracked down. Cuban authorities arrested more than 1,000 persons as part of a wave of repression, said HRW. I quote, "The goal for the regime must make fear more powerful than people's desperation," end of quote, HRW said. The HRW report documented in detail violations against 130 people across Cuba. In most cases, these people were interrogated repeatedly, some detainees were denied sleep or beaten, while others were threatened with reprisals against them or their families for having protested, the report said. And finally, Caribbean legislators have been paying tribute to former United States Secretary of State Colin Powell, who died of COVID-19 complications amid a cancer battle on Monday at the age of 84. Caribbean American Democratic Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke, the daughter of Jamaican immigrants, said that Powell, an American politician, diplomat, statesman, and 4-star general, was, I quote, a trailblazer in the U.S. military establishment, end of quote. She went on to say that, I quote, "He rose through the ranks to become a 4-star general and the Joint Chief of Staff in the Bush administration, and he would go on to be appointed as the first Black U.S. Secretary of State. While we both represent 2 different political parties, he was a principled statesman who loved his country. We are all beneficiaries of his decades of service," end of quote, Clarke said. I quote, "His trailblazing efforts include being the first Black U.S. Secretary of State, changed the course of history for this nation," end of quote, added veteran New York State Assemblyman, Jamaican-born Nick Perry. New York City public advocate Jumaine Williams, the son of Grenadian immigrants, said Powell's passing of complications from COVID-19 after a long battle with cancer is, I quote, "a sobering reminder of the state of this pandemic and the strength of the virus," end quote. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, the Democratic Party nominee for mayor of New York, described General Powell as a, quote, true trailblazer, end of quote. Powell had multiple myeloma, a cancer of plasma cells that suppresses the body's immune response, as well as Parkinson's disease. Even if fully vaccinated against COVID-19, those who are immunocompromised are at greater risk from the virus. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for joining.